So, last time, we had solved this example kung saan nga gumawa tayo ng mga journal entries to account for the manufacturing transactions ng isang company. Maliban doon, nag-post din tayo sa mga T-accounts as well as nag-extract ng mga balances. Yung mga balances nga na yun, ginamit natin siya to create an income statement. This time, job order costing pa rin naman tayo. Pero yung accounting na gagawin natin, it will include na yung preparation ng job cost sheets. So ano nga ba yung tinatawag natin na job order cost sheets? So we had defined job order costing as a costing method where cost is accumulated by product or job. So cost accumulation is by job orders. And ang subsidiary record mo to support this is what we call the job order cost sheets. So what is job order cost sheets? It is the subsidiary record for work in process. All postings to the work in process should correspond to the details in the job order cost sheet. Pag sinabi natin na subsidiary record, what do we mean by that? Ang subsidiary record, siya ay supporting details ng mga amounts na mag-a-appear sa isang particular account. Remember na every time na meron tayong materials na charge in production as well as direct labor and factory overhead, nire-record natin siya as debits under work in process. And then afterward, kapag na-complete na yung products, magkakaroon naman tayo ng credit sa work in process. So yung mga details nito, debits and credits sa work in process, ito yung sinasabi natin na dapat magre-reflect din sa job order cost sheets. To give you an idea of how does job cost sheet looks like, ito yung example natin. So this is a job cost sheet. You write the name of the customers, the products ordered, and its specification. Syempre yung quantity, and yung mga significant dates. You will also list down by dates yung details ng direct materials as well as direct labor. Then after that, you will have this recapitulation. Ano ibig sabihin nito? It simply means summary. So, isa-summarize mo lahat ng factory costs. Kukunin mo yung total ng direct materials, direct labor, and then yung applied factory overhead. Then you'll get the total factory costs. You multiply it by the gross profit rate to get the gross profit, and then you add the gross profit to the total factory cost to get the selling price. And then afterwards, makukuha mo na yung cost per unit as well as selling price per unit. To give you an example kung paano gamitin itong cost sheet, answeran natin itong problem. Let's read the problem. Tokyo Furniture Incorporated started operations in 2021 and has requested for your assistance in costing the different jobs it processed during the first 2 months of the year. Based on estimates, factory overhead should be charged at the rate of 200 pesos per direct labor hour. Desired gross profit is 50% of manufacturing costs. And these are the jobs accepted. For the jobs number 001 and 002, supply na natin yung details sa job cost sheet habang binabasa natin. So, ang job order number 1 is for Ignacio Manuel. So, Ignacio Manuel. Ano yung product niya? Nara chairs. Ano yung specification? Sabi, medium dining chairs. How many chairs? 250. Kailan niya in order? January 4. And needed siya ng January 25. Date wanted, January 25, 2021. Date started, January 6, 2021. Date finish. Actually, susuplayan mo tong details after na susuplayan mo yung field na to after na ma-account lahat ng factory costs. And once completed na yung order ni customer. Pero for this one, since given na sa atin yung details, supply na rin natin. January 23, 2021. Actually, sa practice, ang una mong ma-accomplish na magawa is yung mga job cost sheets bago ka makapag journal entry and mag-post sa ledger. Lalong-lalo na if ang work mo is sa isang accounting firm, ang mangyayari niyan, gagawin muna ng business lahat ng business documents. And then, pagkatapos nun, at the end of the month, isasubmit nila yan sa'yo. So, ang makukuha mo sa kanila, ito na, mga cost sheets na. As well, yung mga supporting documents nito. And then, after nun, saka ka lang makakapag-journal entry and makakapag-post. Pero for simplicity, and para mas maintindihan siya ng gusto, ang gagawin natin is baliktad. Mag-journal entry muna tayo, and then magpo-post tayo, and then afterward, saka natin ilalagay sa job cost sheet. Okay? Next, yung job order 002. It's for Felipe Morales. Ang product na in-order niya is mahogany beds. Ang specification is laddered beds. Quantity is 10. Date ordered February 2. Needed niya on February 26. Date started is February 3. And date finish, itong field na to, fill upan mo lang siya once na completed na yung product. Pero since binigay na sa atin in advance ng example, yung date finish, supplyan na natin yung field. February 24, 2021. Next paragraph. On January 3, Tokyo Furniture purchased materials on account amounting to 500,000 pesos. Ang composition niya is 400,000 direct materials and 100,000 indirect materials. Other transactions in January and February are as follows. So, for now, sa example, January muna tayo. So, binigay na sa atin yung unang transaction, which is on January 3 nga, kung kailan nag-purchase si Tokyo Furniture. Record natin yung una nating transaction. So, ang raw materials, or materials, recorded siya under raw materials inventory. And ang raw materials inventory, isa siyang assets. So, under siya ng asset. Last time, diniscuss natin to tungkol sa debits and credits ng mga particular account. So, for raw materials, ang debits niya is for the purchase of direct materials and indirect materials. So, under na ng isang account, ang direct and indirect. Sa record natin yung transaction. 2021, January 3. Purchase materials amounting to 500,000 pesos. So, si raw materials, isa siyang asset and ang increase sa asset recorded sa debit side. Ang decrease naman recorded sa credit side. For this one, i-debit natin siya. So, debit raw materials, inventory. 500,000. Ano naman yung credit mo? Sabi, pinurchase daw yung materials on account or utang. Purchase on credit. In which case, ang credit mo dito is accounts payable. Since si accounts payable, isa siyang liability and ang increase sa liability, recorded siya sa credit side. Kaya i-credit mo siya. 500,000. Siyempre, don't forget yung description. To record materials purchases. What about yung mga sumunod na transaction? So, January 6. Materials issued, direct saka indirect. Gamit yung requisition number 001. Yung requisition, yan ay materials requisition document. Ginagamit siya whenever kailangan kumuha ng material sa warehouse para gamitin sa production. So, mag-fill up ka ng form na yan. Yung materials requisition 001 is for job order number 1. So, ang amount for direct materials, 30,000 and indirect materials, 5,000. So, this time, mababawasan yung iyong raw materials inventory. Since mababawasan siya, ang record niya is on the credit side. Ano naman yung debit mo? Yun naman is yung work in process inventory. So, mag-charge ka na ng materials to production. Debited siya for direct materials. What about yung indirect materials na 5,000? Mapupunta naman siya sa factory overhead or manufacturing overhead. So, record na natin. But before that, huwag nating kalimutan na i-post sa T-accounts yung ating journal entry. So, for raw materials, account number 101, January 3. Ang amount is 500,000. After nun, lagay mo yung reference number. And then, accounts payable on January 3. Posted siya on the credit side. 500,000. Account number 201. And then, next transaction, January 6. So, debit natin si work in process para sa cost ng direct materials. Work in process inventory. How much? 30,000. Debit natin yung manufacturing overhead para naman sa indirect materials. $5,000. Then, credit natin yung raw materials inventory. How much? 30,000 plus 5,000. 35,000. Accordingly, post din natin siya sa T-accounts. So, January 6. Debit sa work in process is 30,000. And then sa manufacturing overhead, January 6, 5,000. Huwag natin kalimutan ilagay yung reference number. For work in process inventory, yan ay 102. For manufacturing overhead, 104. And then sa raw materials inventory, merong credit. January 6, 35,000. Lagay natin yung account number 101. And, syempre, yung description. To record, materials charge to production. January 6, sa parehong date, meron ding direct labor transaction. So, job order number 001, ang labor hours na work sa kanya is 5 hours costing 2,000 pesos. So, on direct labor, once incurred siya, charge siya sa work in process inventory. So, under pa rin ng January 6, debit tayo ng work in process. Inventory. $2,000. Credit naman tayo ng salaries and wages payable, 2,000. Lagyan natin ng description to record labor costs incurred for job 001. Siyempre, i-post natin sa T-account January 6. Debit sa work in process na 2,000 pesos. Credit naman sa salaries and wages payable na 2,000 pesos. Then, lagay mo yung account number as reference. Work in process yan ay 102. Salaries and wages payable yan ay 202. Sumunod na transaction, January 10. Pero bago tayo mag-proceed dyan, remember na every time na meron tayong in-input sa or in-entry sa work in process, accordingly dapat supported yan ng job cost sheet. Supply din natin dito yung information. Date, January 6. Requisition number R-001. Magkano yung amount? 30,000 plus 5,000 equals 35,000 na materials. If 30,000 ang ilalagay natin, mamamali tayo. Bakit? Remember na nung nag-charge tayo ng material sa production, ang recorded lang sa work in process is yung direct materials. Yung indirect materials, mapupunta siya sa manufacturing overhead. Ito ay dapat na 5,000 lang. Yan. So, ang mapupunta lang sa job cost sheet natin is yung direct materials na 30,000. So, accordingly, ang ilalagay mo dito is 30,000. Later on, pagka patapos na yung production, yung factory overhead, marereflect siya sa cost sheet once na nag-apply ka na ng factory overhead. And then, on January 6 din, may labor hours na na-incur for job 001 na 5 hours. And magkano siya? 2,000 pesos. Next na transaction. After that, it would be January 10 naman. Nagkaroon ulit ng materials na chinarge sa job 001. So, January 10. Record tayo ng debit work in process. Dito mapupunta yung chinarge na direct materials. Inventory. Credit naman tayo ng raw materials inventory. So, debit work in process, how much? 5,000 pesos. Credit raw materials inventory. ₱5,000. Lagyan natin ng description. To record materials charge to job 001. And then don't forget to post it on the T account. January 10, 5,000. After that, lagay mo yung reference number 102. And then sa raw materials naman, January 10, 5,000. Account number 101. And then supply din natin yung information na to sa job cost sheet. January 10, ang requisition number naman niya is 002. So, R-002. Amount ay 5,000 pesos. And then, next naman na transaction, which would be January 13. January 13, labor hours, 4 hours, ang amount is 1,600 pesos. January 13, ang direct labor cost, once na-incurred siya, charge siya sa work in process inventory. So, we debit work in process inventory. How much? 1,600. Credit naman tayo ng salaries and wages payable. $1,600. After nun, i-post mo siya sa T account. January 13. $1,600. Lagay natin yung account number 102. Salaries and wages. January 13. $1,600. Then description. To record labor costs incurred for job 001. Lagay natin yung account number ni salaries and wages for reference 202. Then afterward, supply din natin yan sa job cost sheet. January 13. Ilang hours? 4 hours. How much? 1,600. Sunod na transaction, January 20. January 20, labor hours 6 and ang amount niya is 2,400. January 20. So, similar lang din to sa January 13. Direct labor cost na charge sa production. Magiging entry natin, debit sa work in process, inventory. How much? 2,400. Credit sa salaries and wages payable. 2,400. Don't forget yung description. After nun, i-post mo siya sa T-account. So, January 20. Under work in process sa debit side, 2,400. Lagay mo yung account number, 102. And then salaries and wages, January 20. 2,400. 202. Then, punta ka sa cost sheet. Under yan ng labor, January 20. Labor hours is 6. So, 6. Ang amount is 2,400. And then, on January 22, labor cost ulit na incur. What would be the entry? Debit mo siya sa work in process inventory. ₱800. Credit yung salaries and wages payable. ₱800. And then, write the description. After mo siyang ma-journal entry, post siya sa T-account. So, January 22. ₱800. Ganun din sa salaries and wages sa credit side, January 22, ₱800. After nun, lagay mo yung account number as reference. Then, proceed sa cost sheet. Under ng direct labor, January 22. How many hours? 2 hours. Ang cost is ₱800. And then, last transaction for January. Sa January 23. Factory overhead was applied to production and completed job order 001. Para sa application ng factory overhead, you're gonna need yung factory overhead rate. Sa problem natin, sa first paragraph, minention siya, based on estimates, factory overhead should be charged at the rate of ₱200 per direct labor hour. So, complete natin siya. Ang magiging entry mo is, syempre, debit sa work in process para sa factory overhead apply. And then, credit mo naman siya sa manufacturing overhead. So, debit work in process. Let's compute kung magkano yung factory overhead applied. Applied factory overhead. Equal siya sa 200 pesos multiply by the labor hours, which is 17. We get 3,400. So, debit work in process inventory 3,400. Credit si manufacturing overhead 3,400. What about kapag ka nagme-maintain ka ng separate applied factory overhead na account? In which case, yun naman yung i-credit mo instead na manufacturing overhead. But for this one, meron lang tayong isang account for overhead, that is manufacturing overhead. Then write the description to record factory overhead applied to production. And then on the same day, January 23, na-complete na rin yung job number 001. So meron pa tayong additional na entry. Yun naman yung para sa finished goods inventory. But before that, post muna natin yung entry natin for application ng factory overhead. Para nang sa ganun, ma-extract natin yung balance ng work in process inventory. Magkano ba yung mapupunta sa finished goods? So, January 23, mayroong applied factory overhead na 3,400. Lagay natin yung account number as reference after natin ma-post. And then, credit sa manufacturing overhead noong January 23 amounting to 3,400. Account number niya is 104. Then, pwede na natin kunin yung debit balance ng work in process. Magkano siya? Ang total debits sa work in process is 45,200. Lahat yan nagre-refer sa job number 001. And since completed na siya on January 23, matatransfer na to sa finished goods. So, entry. January 23, debit natin si finished goods inventory. Magkano siya? 45,200. Credit naman natin si work in process inventory. 45,200. Don't forget the description. To record cost of goods manufactured. Post na natin sa T accounts for finished goods January 23. 45,200. Account number niya for reference 103. And then, credit naman sa work in process. Sa January 23, 45,200. So, ang total ng credit side niya is 45,200. Balance niya at the end of January would be 0. Lagay natin yung reference number for work in process, 102. Then, reflect naman natin siya sa job cost sheet. Saan na siya mapupunta? So, na-record na natin lahat ng direct materials and direct labor. It's time to get na yung mga totals niya. So, direct materials. Lagyan natin dito ng total column, total row. So, total natin siya. For direct materials, 30,000 plus 35,000. Remember na hindi dito kasama yung indirect materials. Kasi yung indirect materials, naka-charge siya sa manufacturing overhead, hindi sa work in process. Mapupunta lang siya sa work in process once na nag-apply na ng factory overhead sa production. For direct labor cost naman, 2,000 plus 1,600 plus 2,400 plus 800, 6,800. Kunin natin yung mga totals na yan. 35,000 for direct labor cost, 6,800. Magkano ulit yung factory overhead applied? Ang rate niyan is 200 pesos per labor hour. Ang labor hours total is 17. Compute natin. 17 times 200. Dapat pareho yan dun sa ni-record natin sa January 23. 3,400. How much is the total factory cost? Direct materials plus direct labor plus factory overhead applied. 45,200. Ito ay equal sa work in process debit balance. And then equal din siya dun sa matatransfer na amount sa finished goods. Multiply by the gross profit rate. Binigay ba sa atin yung gross profit rate? Balik tayo sa problem. Sabi sa problem, the desired gross profit rate is 50% of manufacturing cost. So, to get the gross profit rate, we would simply multiply 50% to the total factory cost. So, lagay natin dito yung 50%. How much is the gross profit? So, 45,200 times 50%, 22,600. Since nakuha mo na yung gross profit, saka factory cost, makukompute mo na rin yung selling price. Formula niya, yung total manufacturing cost plus gross profit. 67,800. Magkano naman yung magiging cost per unit mo? Gawin mo lang, kunin mo yung total factory cost, divide mo siya by the number of units. So, ang quantity for job order 001 yan ay 250. Ang cost per unit mo is 180 pesos, 0.80 centavo. Magkano naman yung selling price per unit? This time naman, ang i-divide mo is yung selling price naman. Selling price divided by the number of units. You get 271 pesos and 20 centavos. So that's it for the transactions in January.